Thank you so much for being here today. Our channel is called Think Tank Channel, and the objective of this channel is to find solutions to some of our societal problems. My name is Joaquin Juguna, and I'll be walking you through this process of us trying to identify situations or unique issues happening in the society. And we see, can we have conversations around those things with the intention of finding solutions? Because sometimes we tend to complain about something, we tend to judge people about something, we tend to criticize about something, but ultimately we don't get a solution from that complaining or from that criticizing or from that judging. So what I would like us to do is imagine you have a problem. And in this problem, you could opt for three options, okay? Option number one is to, what I said previously, you can either choose to blame someone, you can either choose to judge someone, or you can even choose to criticize someone, all right? Or something, or a situation, or a boss, whatever it is that you're struggling with. Option number two is to choose to wait, okay? So you wait and you decide that something will happen without you personally getting involved, but then you expect something to change, someone to change. So it means when you wait, you'll wait for eternity. Option number three is a good one, because option number three means you're tired of your problem and you want to find a solution to that problem. So this channel, that is what we're going to be focusing on. We're going to be a solution-oriented channel, and how we're going to do that is through engagement, is through brainstorming, and through discussions. So let's get started by looking at some of the societal issues we're talking about, and then we can expound on that. So thank you. So some of the societal issues we're going to be talking about, and we're going to think about the kind of stuff that you watch on the news, the kind of discussions that are held on social media. So we're going to start with naming some of those problems, and then we're going to work towards the effects of those problems. So number one, we have a problem to do with corruption. Okay. Number two, unemployment. And if you've been watching the news again, you know that this is actually a problem. Unemployment. Did I miss an E? Okay. Number three, there's poverty and inequality. Now, in this area, we know we currently have a food crisis. Number four, let's say inadequate health care, where not everybody has access or they're able to afford adequate health care. Number five, we're looking at education. Now, we have a lot of people who have gone to school, a lot of graduates who have graduated, but unfortunately, they're not able to get employment, all right? So it's all about, I've finished my education, but I'm not able to get a job. I've finished my degree, but I'm not able to start a business. So that's a problem. Number six, Jose, would you like to add to the list? Any ideas that you may have? Land dispute. We normally get to read about land disputes, okay? Another thing, we have a lot of ethnic tensions, right? Ethnic tensions. Okay. Now, I know the list could be longer, so we're asking our viewers to kind of, just contribute and let us grow this list. So this number one, I would ask, Jose, which is the most critical problem on this list? What do you think it is the most critical problem on the list?
I think number three.
Number three. Okay. So Jose, my colleague here, said it's number three, but I want to challenge and say that all these issues are interconnected. Okay. We're saying if we could solve one problem, we could solve all the other problems. Okay. So we're not going to look at these problems as a standalone, as much as they are standalone. We are looking at it as much as if we have this, for instance, in an organization, then we are not going to, the organization is not going to grow. Now, if an organization is not going to grow, it's not going to create job opportunities. All right. Now, if people do not have a way of earning money, then it means we go back to poverty and inequality. Now, if people are having poverty and inequality, that comes with a lot of stress. All right. If you're not eating right, if you're forever stressed about how to feed your children, then the next thing will happen is you'll have a problem, either physically, mentally, you're going to have a problem. So the question is, so as much as we go to school, why are we not able to solve these problems? Because the reason why we go to school is to gain knowledge, and after we gain that knowledge, we use that knowledge to solve problems. So we're going to be looking at that. But before we even go further, I want us to look at what are the effects of having these issues. So effect number one, I know from reading newspaper articles and also information and news, we have the suicide rate has gone up. Okay. Number two, we know we have mental health issues as well. Mental health. And this considerably went up after the COVID crisis. This went up. Number three, we have an issue to do with drugs and alcohol addiction. Number four, we have issues to do with domestic violence. Number five, Jose helped me to build this list. Domestic violence. We know we have issues to do with broken families. Okay, so broken families. Now, if you have broken families, it means now the rise of single parent homes goes up. Okay, so this problem leads to this problem. All right. Another problem that could also come from this, I recently attended a webinar and they were discussing about the boy crisis. So we have a boy crisis, a boy and men crisis. So the list is endless. All right. So we are saying because of these societal issues, these are the effects. So if we're going to look at the effects without understanding the societal problems, so even if I take somebody for rehab and they come from rehab, but they still come back to the reality of them not having a job, not having a reason for living, then it means we'll go through the cycle that never ends. All right? So now the reason why we are starting to have discussions around these topics is, can we get solutions for these problems? Can we get solutions for these problems? Because then if we don't, 2 years, 5 years from today, if nothing changes, if we don't take any action, it means these issues will go up. All right? As I said before, when you're handling a problem, you have three options. Option number one, what did I say, Jose? You complain, okay? You judge, you criticize. Number two, we wait. All right? So for now, there could be, I know there are people out there who are trying to do so much around these areas, but we are saying we need to do more. It doesn't matter whether you're an organization, it doesn't matter whether you're a person, you can participate in finding solutions to these problems. Because if we do not change the status quo, it's only going to get worse. All right? So the question I would like to pose is, this is the effect, this is the society, but where did these issues come from? Okay? Now we consider ourselves, and I'm going to zero in on issues affecting Kenya, but majority of these issues are affecting Africa. Okay? So we're going to look at, we know at least any normal African has had basic education. Okay? At least we have all gotten some basic education. Number two, in Africa, we're very religious. So we have religion, okay? So we can tend to assume that this is meant to take care of our academic knowledge, our intellectual knowledge. That is where education comes in. And then we could say that religion is supposed to balance our heart issues, our emotional issues. So we could also say that education focuses on our left side of the brain, where rationalization, analytics happens, and then religion is supposed to come in to manage our emotional brain, which is the right side of our brain, if I'm not wrong. So the balance of the two should then bring about a person who is grounded to make better choices, to make better decisions, so that even if you have this kind of problems, then you have a way to solve these kinds of problems so they do not become that kind of effect. So the question is, why isn't this working? Why do we continue focusing on this, focusing on that, without looking at what is the outcome? So if this is the input and this is the outcome, could it be that there's something more that we could do? All right. Now that is what we want to be exploring. With the different kinds of scenarios we'll be picking, we break them down so that we understand, like unemployment. All right. If all of us were to think about leaving college and getting a job, yet those jobs have not been created, then it means we are going to go again through a cycle that never changes, because every year you have graduates who are graduating from campus. Okay. So we really need to unpack these issues and see what is it that we can start, each and every person. What can we do to start making a difference? Okay, so we have now identified the societal problems that we're going to be looking at. We've already seen the different kinds of effects that come with those problems. So we're going to be using a framework. Once we identify a problem, we're going to be using a framework to see how we can meet the objective of this channel, which is how do we solve the problem. So the framework will be, number one, what is the problem? Number two, oh, by the way, guys, I never thought I could teach, but it's interesting when you listen to, when you understand your talents and your areas of gifting. Number two, where did the problem come from? Okay. Number three, why the problem? Okay. What is it that we didn't know to get to the problem? Number four, again, the objective of this channel, how do we solve the problem? Okay, so this is a framework. So for instance, like next week, I want us to pick a topic on unemployment. Oh, sorry. So we'll kind of break down to try and understand why do we have this problem currently in our country. And then finally, we're going to get to the point of how can we solve the problem. Sometimes we always think that we need people who are very knowledgeable to help us to solve some of these problems, but we forget our innate ability, God-given abilities in terms of how we can solve the different kinds of situations in our lives. So guys, I really want you to give your feedback if there's any other thing you'd like us to add on this framework. And being a start, we're willing to evolve, we're willing to learn. So please make sure you send us your comments and your suggestions. Okay? So in conclusion, we are hoping to be doing at least one video a week where we'll be picking up a topic based on the interactions that we're going to be having on the YouTube channel. And then we're going to be unpacking it slowly by slowly. So if you have feedback, please share. If you have relatives that you want to also learn because the objective is, if you have a problem, maybe you're going to gain some knowledge from this network on how to solve that problem. Okay. The other option is you can start looking at situations proactively. You may not necessarily have a problem, but proactive knowledge is important so that in the event that you encounter some of these things, then you know how to respond. Okay. Number 3, I think be open-minded. Be willing to suspend what you believe about everything that we're going to be talking about and see if you can embrace new knowledge. Life is about learning, unlearning, and relearning. That's what makes life very, very interesting. So I think, Jose, I think I've stated everything that I wanted to state for our first video, and we are looking forward to hearing from you. So until the next time, we'll see you. Thank you very much. I am your host, Njoki Njuguna.